What if the most dangerous person in your life right now is not your enemy? What if it's someone who smiles at you every day? Most people spend their lives protecting themselves from obvious threats, the loud critics, the open rivals, the people who disrespect them to their face. But the real damage, the damage that quietly ruins careers, poisons minds and collapses futures, it almost never comes from those people. It comes from someone you trust. Nietzsche once said something that most people hear but few truly understand. The most dangerous of all lies is a truth slightly distorted. Think about that for a moment. Not a full lie, not a loud betrayal, a slight distortion, a whisper in the right ear, a carefully placed doubt, a smile that hides calculation. The disturbing truth is this: some people in your life are quietly dismantling your peace, your reputation, and your future right now. And you won't notice until the damage is already done. Not because you are foolish, but because these people are masters of invisibility. They operate in the spaces between words, in the silences, in the shadows of your trust. Carl Jung called this the shadow dynamic, the hidden forces that operate just beneath the surface of our social relationships. In this video, we will uncover 6 psychological signs that someone is silently destroying your life and the ancient wisdom that can protect you before it's too late. Section 1, the subtle underminer. There is a person who never directly criticizes you. They are too smart for that. Instead, they ask questions, innocent-sounding questions that plant seeds of doubt. Are you sure you're ready for this? I just hope it works out for you. You know people are talking, right? Most people dismiss these moments. They think this is just concern. This is just honesty. This person cares about me. But here is the hidden psychological truth. When someone consistently questions your decisions, your confidence, and your capabilities, not to help you, but to watch you hesitate, that is not concern. That is control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that the greatest threat to your freedom is not physical chains, but mental ones. And the subtle underminer specializes in mental chains. They don't stop you. They make you stop yourself. In real life, this looks like a colleague who just wonders whether you're qualified for the promotion you applied for right before the interview, or a friend who worries about your new relationship right when things start going well. They time it perfectly, because it's not accidental. Remember this: genuine concern empowers. Calculated doubt paralyzes. Learn to feel the difference. Section 2, the reputation architect. Here is something most people never realize. Your reputation is not built by you. It is built by what others say about you when you are not in the room. And some people have made it their silent mission to architect a version of you that serves their interests, not yours. This person says nothing obviously false. They are careful. They share just enough truth, twisted just enough to paint you in a specific light. They mention your mistakes without mentioning your growth. They share your vulnerabilities without your victories. They tell the story of you, and they leave out the best chapters. Jung described this as projection with purpose when someone assigns a narrative to you that reflects their own insecurities and fears, but does it so cleverly that others believe it before you even get a chance to speak. Think about a family member who tells relatives about your failures from years ago, but somehow never mentions your progress. Or a coworker who describes your emotional moments to management without the context that explains them. The damage is slow, invisible, and by the time you feel it, the room has already formed an opinion. The Stoics had a response to this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike those who harmed you, not to chase the narrative, not to argue, but to become so undeniably yourself that no distorted version can survive the truth of your presence." Section 3, the energy vampire. Not all destruction is visible. Some people destroy you not through actions, but through draining. And this is perhaps the most underestimated form of silent harm. The energy vampire does not attack you. They exhaust you. Every conversation with them leaves you somehow smaller. Every interaction costs you something you cannot name. You feel it in your body, a heaviness, a fog, a quiet sense that something was taken from you. Schopenhauer believed that human beings have a finite reservoir of will, a psychological energy he called will the driving force behind all thought and ambition. When this energy is constantly drained, a person cannot achieve, create, or grow. The energy vampire knows not always consciously how to access this reservoir and pull from it. They bring you their chaos, their crises, their endless cycles of drama that somehow always return to the same place, and somehow you are always the solution they never actually want. In relationships, this looks like a partner who creates conflict right before your important moments, a presentation, an exam, a breakthrough. In friendships, it looks like someone who only calls when they need something and disappears when you do. The key insight here is this: protecting your energy is not selfishness. It is survival. You cannot build anything meaningful on an empty foundation. Section 4, the Dream Discourager. Pay very careful attention to who discourages you from your dreams. Because the most dangerous person in your life is not the one who opposes you loudly. It is the one who slowly normalizes your smallness. This person does not tell you that you cannot succeed. That would be too obvious. Instead, they talk about how most people don't make it, how the world is difficult, how you should be realistic, how they just don't want to see you get hurt. They wear the mask of wisdom. But beneath it is something Nietzsche identified as resentment, a deep, often unconscious resentment toward those who dare to want more. The dream discourager has made peace with their own limitations, and your refusal to do the same disturbs them at a level they cannot fully articulate. So they project that limitation onto you. Quietly, consistently, over months, over years. And eventually, if you are not careful, you begin to believe the ceiling they built for you is actually the sky. In real life, this is the parent who calls ambition arrogance, the friend who calls vision delusion, the partner who calls your growth a threat to the relationship. The ancient Stoics had a word for the only opinion that truly matters: hegemonikon, the ruling faculty of your own rational mind. Never outsource your self-belief to someone whose own belief system has already surrendered. Section 5, the wolf in loyalty's clothing. There is a category of betrayal that is especially devastating because it comes wrapped in the language of loyalty. This person calls themselves your ride or die, your real one, your day one. They are present during the lows, suspiciously present in fact. They sit with you in your pain, absorb every detail of your wounds, every secret of your struggles. And then, when circumstances change, that information becomes a weapon. Jung called this the shadow integration failure, when someone who has not reconciled their own darkness uses the intimacy of a close relationship to acquire leverage, not love. This is the friend who knows everything about your past and uses it in conversations to subtly remind you of your lowest version. The confidant who shared your vulnerabilities with others under the guise of concern. The ally who only appears when they need something from your network, your skills, or your social capital. The tragedy is not the betrayal. The tragedy is the time lost trusting someone whose friendship was always a transaction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous and surly, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." This is not cynicism. This is awareness. The highest form of emotional intelligence is the ability to see people clearly without bitterness, but without blindness. Section 6. The silent competitor. The last and most invisible destroyer is the silent competitor. This person never challenges you openly. They never compete with you directly. But underneath every interaction with you is a scoreboard that only they can see. They celebrate your failures privately. They diminish your wins publicly, not through direct criticism, but through minimization. Oh, that's good, but yeah, a lot of people are doing that now. I mean, it's not that hard if you think about it. The psychological root of this behavior is what modern psychology calls social comparison theory, the deeply human tendency to measure self-worth against those closest to us. And when someone feels they are losing that invisible competition, they do not work harder. They pull you down to restore the balance. Nietzsche described this as the psychology of the last man, the one who cannot tolerate greatness in others, because it reminds them of their own unexplored potential. The silent competitor is the most exhausting to deal with because there is no obvious conflict to resolve. There is only the slow erosion of your joy whenever you share your wins with them. The lesson: be very selective about who sees your progress before it is complete. The psychology behind this: why do people destroy others silently? The answer is both simple and profound. Most of this behavior is not conscious. It does not come from evil. It comes from fear. Deep, unresolved fear about their own worth, their own potential, their own unlived life. When someone has not done the internal work that Jung called individuation, the process of becoming a fully integrated self, they remain fragmented. And fragmented people do not build. They disrupt. Not because they are monsters, but because they are wounded. The person who undermines you is terrified of their own inadequacy. The reputation architect fears being overshadowed. The energy vampire has never learned to fill themselves from within. The dream discourager gave up on their own dreams long ago and cannot bear to watch yours survive. This does not excuse the harm, but it explains it. And when you understand the source of someone's behavior, you hold the power because you stop taking it personally and you start responding strategically. How to respond? First, observe without reaction. The moment you react emotionally, you give them confirmation that they have power over you. Let your composure be your armor. Second, audit your inner circle ruthlessly. Not everyone who has been in your life long deserves a front row seat to your future. Proximity is not loyalty. Third, protect your plans before they are complete. Silence is strategy. Not every dream needs to be announced. Let your results speak before your intentions are visible. Fourth, set energetic boundaries. You do not need to explain why you are pulling back. You simply pull back. Protect your peace like it is your most valuable asset, because it is. Fifth, redirect your focus inward. The Stoics believed that the only domain truly within your control is your own mind, your own values, your own actions. Everything outside that is noise. When you master your inner world, the external chaos loses its grip. Why this matters more today: we live in an era that has made silent destruction easier than ever before. Social media has given people the ability to shape narratives about you that you will never see. A screenshot taken out of context. A story shared selectively. An absence of defense when you needed someone to speak up. These are the modern weapons of the silent destroyer. The attention economy has made emotional manipulation more sophisticated. People have learned consciously or not how to use social validation, comparison, and public opinion as tools of control. And modern relationships, accelerated by speed, performance, and digital facades, rarely allow the depth of knowing that would reveal who someone truly is before the damage is done. This is why emotional intelligence is no longer a luxury. It is a survival skill. The person who can read subtext, feel the gap between what is said and what is meant, and protect their peace without becoming cold, that person is rare. And that person is nearly impossible to destroy silently. So here is the truth that most people will never fully accept. Not everyone in your life is rooting for you. Not everyone who calls themselves your friend wants to see you win. And that is not a dark conclusion. That is simply the nature of being human in a world built on comparison, ego, and unprocessed pain. The Stoics did not teach us to become paranoid. They taught us to become aware. Nietzsche did not teach us to isolate ourselves. He taught us to become unbreakable. Jung did not teach us to suspect everyone. He taught us to know ourselves so deeply that we could recognize when someone else's darkness was being projected onto us. You now carry something that most people never acquire the awareness to see what was designed to remain invisible. Guard your peace as if it is sacred. Because it is. Guard your vision as if it is irreplaceable. Because it is. And remember this final truth, one that the greatest minds of history understood. The people who are threatened by your light will always try to convince you that you are the darkness. Do not believe them.